Every 90 seconds, someone over 60 is treated in an emergency department after a fall. Many people assume that simply walking every day is enough to prevent that outcome. That belief is understandable but misleading. Walking helps the heart and mood, yet does not train the small, stabilizing muscles and the fast reflexes that stop a stumble from becoming a fall. Today, you will discover 5 exercises that doctors and physiotherapists recommend and that scientific journals, like the Journal of Gerontology and resources at the National Institute on Aging, highlight as effective for improving strength, balance, and independence. These routines are simple, safe, and designed to be done at home without special equipment. Do any of these sound familiar to you? Do you sometimes pause on stairs or hold a handrail for comfort? If so, keep watching because I will show clear steps, progressions, and safety tips that help you regain confidence and move more freely. These practices are evidence-informed and taught by clinicians who work with older adults every day. Comment 1 if you feel confident and 0 if you want to improve, and I will read replies so we can shape future videos together. Now, let us begin with an exercise many underestimate: the single leg balance. Before the first exercise, a short pause to connect. I want to know how you feel about balance right now. I know this can bring up memories of a sudden slip or a small victory where you caught yourself. If you feel confident, type 1 in the comments. If you have worries or have had a recent scare, type 0 and add one word that describes how you feel. For example, ready, worried, or steady. Sharing helps others see they are not alone and helps me make content that answers real needs. I read comments and often base future topics on what you write. Now, with your answer in mind, we start with a foundational move that trains proprioception and ankle reflexes. Exercise 1, Single Leg Stance, is a powerful and underrated balance drill, supported by studies in geriatric rehabilitation showing improvements in postural sway and reaction time. In practice, a physiotherapist described how 5 minutes a day changed outcomes for many clients. Scene and dialogue, with Evelyn, a 72-year-old retired teacher who is our protagonist, and with Dr. Patel, the physiotherapist, and with Nurse Susan observing. Evelyn says, "I get nervous when the sidewalk is wet." Dr. Patel replies, "Keep the gaze forward and start with support." Evelyn asks, "How long should I hold it?" Dr. Patel answers, "Start with 10 seconds and breathe steadily." Evelyn says, "My ankle feels weak." Nurse Susan adds, "Try it next to a sturdy chair, then progress." Dr. Patel says, "When you can hold 30 to 45 seconds, try closing your eyes briefly." Evelyn asks, "Will that really help?" Dr. Patel answers, "Yes, it trains proprioception, the brain to sense limb position." Evelyn says, "I will try every other day." Nurse Susan says, "Remember to keep shoes on for first sessions." Dr. Patel adds, "If you feel dizzy, stop and sit." In the scene, you can picture sunlight slanting through a living room window, the faint creak of a chair, the rough texture of a wooden floor under a trainer shoe, the smell of lemon cleaner on a nearby table, and the soft rhythm of calm breathing. Instructions, step by step. Stand tall near a chair, transfer weight to one foot, lift the other foot a few inches off the ground, relax shoulders, look at a fixed point, breathe in for 3, breathe out for 3, and hold for 10 to 45 seconds based on ability. Progressions: close eyes, add small head turns, hold a light weight at the side, or stand on a folded towel for mild instability. Safety notes: breathe, do not lock the knee, use support, and stop if you feel pain. Evidence note: a review in the Journal of Strength and Conditioning reports that targeted balance drills reduce fall risk when paired with strength work and proprioceptive challenge. Exercise 2, Step-ups, train functional strength used every time you climb stairs or a curb and are supported by randomized trials that show improved gait speed and leg power. Meet George, a 68-year-old gardener, and Dr. Reyes, the rehabilitation doctor, and Carlos, a grandson who helps with home setup. George says, "The front step used to make me catch my breath." Dr. Reyes replies, "We will start with a low step and progression plans." Carlos asks, "How high should the step be?" Dr. Reyes answers, start with a riser about 10 to 15 centimeters or a stable platform, the height of a phone book, then increase slowly. George says, I fear overdoing it. Dr. Reyes reassures, use one hand on the railing, breathe in on easy steps, breathe out on effort. George says, how many repetitions? Dr. Reyes answers, begin with 8 to 10 per side, 2 to 3 sets. Carlos asks, can I hold a kettle? Dr. Reyes answers, not at first, use arm support, then add light weight. George says, what about pain? Dr. Reyes answers, mild muscle fatigue is expected. Sharp pain is a stop sign. In this scene, listen to the scrape of the sole against step, the muffled bird song outside the window, the quickened breath after a set, the metallic click of a railing, and the faint scent of coffee on a nearby counter. Instructions. Place a stable step or use a stair step. Start with the stronger leg, step up fully, extend the hip and knee, step down slowly, control movement, breathe out during the lift, and in on the return. Progressions. Increase height or use alternating foot rapid sequences. Safety. Use a railing or wall for balance and consult a physiotherapist if you have joint replacements or uncontrolled pain. Exercise 3. Wall push-ups. Increase upper trunk and shoulder strength, which is key for breaking a forward fall and for everyday tasks like pushing open doors. Studies referenced by geriatric clinicians show improved functional reach and confidence when older adults strengthen upper body while maintaining safe posture. Meet Linda, a 74-year-old former nurse, and Anita, a community physiotherapist who coaches her. Linda says, I was afraid to reach high shelves. Anita answers, we will build pressing strength slowly. Linda asks, do wall push-ups really translate to daily tasks? Anita replies, yes, they improve arm support and posture, which helps when you steady yourself. Linda says, how long to hold at the bottom? Anita answers, pause 3 to 5 seconds to build control, then push away. Linda says, I felt a twinge once. Anita answers, adjust hand height and keep elbows soft. Linda says, will this reduce my fear? Anita answers, the combination of strength and slow, controlled movement reduces anxiety over reaching. In this scene, imagine the cool touch of the wall on the palms, the small squeak of comfortable sneakers against a tiled floor, the faint scent of hand cream, and the sound of measured breathing. Instructions. Stand facing a wall at arm length, place hands on the wall at chest height. Lean in, bending elbows slowly until elbows reach about 90 degrees. Pause 3 to 5 seconds, then push back to start. Progressions. Move feet farther from the wall to increase load, or try incline push-ups on a counter. Safety. Breathe continuously. Avoid holding your breath, and stop if shoulder pain is sharp. Exercise 4. Seated leg raises. Isolate the hip flexors and quadriceps, which are essential for rising from chairs, getting into cars, and stepping over obstacles. Research in clinical geriatrics notes that targeted isolation exercises help correct asymmetric weakness that causes compensatory moves and instability. Meet Carlos, friend of George, and Dr. Patel again, who guides modifications, and Nurse Susan, who times sets. Carlos says, I always struggle getting into my car. Dr. Patel replies, strengthening the hip flexor will make the first step easier. Carlos asks, how do I keep form? Nurse Susan answers, sit tall, press the low back against the chair, and lift the knee slowly. Carlos asks, should I do both legs? Dr. Patel answers, start unilateral to identify imbalances, then do matched sets. Carlos asks, how many reps? Nurse Susan answers, 10 to 15 per leg, 2 sets. Carlos says, what about circulation? Dr. Patel answers, move the ankle and point the toes between reps to encourage blood flow. In the scene, notice the firm fabric of the chair under the thigh, the cool air from a fan, the soft tick of a kitchen clock, and the faint taste of breath after effort. Instructions. Sit upright at the edge of a stable chair, lift one leg straight out, keeping the knees soft. Hold 1 to 3 seconds, lower slowly. Breathe out lifting, breathe in lowering. Progressions. Add ankle weights or hold at the top longer. Safety. Avoid swinging the leg and stop with sharp pain. This exercise improves circulation and reduces stiffness in hip and knee joints when practiced consistently. Exercise 5. Heel raises. Focus on the calf muscles that support balance, push-off, and circulation. Strong calves reduce wobble when you take a step and help with forward momentum. Meet Linda again and Mary, a neighbor who shares a small victory. Mary says, "I could hardly climb a curb before." Linda says, "I started heel raises after my physio guided me and noticed better steadiness." Nurse Susan says, "Try double leg, then single leg versions." Mary asks, "How many per session?" Nurse Susan answers, "Aim for 10 to 20 per set, 3 sets, spread across the day." Mary says, "My feet feel warm after." Linda says, "That is circulation improving." In this scene, feel the textured mat under the toes, the rhythmical tap of shoes on linoleum during a set, the warm flush in the calves, the scent of soap from a nearby sink, and the soft murmur of conversation. Instructions: stand with feet hip width, hold a chair for support. Rise onto toes slowly, pause, lower with control. Breathe in on the lowering, breathe out on the rise. Progressions: perform single leg heel raises or stand on a step to increase range of motion. Safety: keep knees soft, avoid locking, and stop if you feel sharp tendon pain. Along the way, the narrative returns to Evelyn, our central protagonist. Backstory: Evelyn grew up in a coastal town, learning early the value of movement. As a child, she climbed rocks and helped her parents carry groceries along a bumpy dock. That early physical confidence carried through a career in teaching, where long days on her feet taught endurance but not targeted strength training. In her 50s, she stopped running and adapted to gentler routines, yet noticed small changes in step length and confidence. After a minor slip in her 60th year, she resolved to make movement a priority, not only for health, but to stay independent for grandparent duties. Her present challenge is not a single dramatic event, but a steady wear that shows most when she must stand from a low chair or reach for a high shelf. The physiotherapy work with Dr. Patel and the short daily exercises have already begun to shift how she thinks of strength, as something to be rebuilt through consistent, modest practice. That story connects to many others: Mary, George, Linda, Carlos, Anita, Dr. Patel, Dr. Reyes, Nurse Susan, all of whom bring small roles and practical help in her journey. 3 moments of tension arise that change how decisions are made. The first is a memory that returns during a rainy afternoon, when Evelyn slipped on a slick mat and imagined a worse injury. The narrative tightens as she hears the rush of water from a sink and the metallic clang of a dropped pan. She remembers the hospital corridor, the fluorescent light that hummed, and the polite but urgent questions of staff. That night, she lies awake with a pulse that echoes in her ears, the memory of a floor giving way, making her question whether independence will be taken from her abruptly. She weighs freedom against safety and chooses to act by committing to daily practice. The second tense moment comes when George attempts a higher step and his knee flares unexpectedly. There is a sharp, sudden breath, the sting under the kneecap, and the quiet that follows when he sits down to test his limits. He recalls his father telling him to push through pain, but the clinician voice counters with caution and adaptation. The decision becomes clinical, not bravado. Reduce the height, modify the cadence, seek professional advice, and keep the bigger goal of independent gardening alive through sensible progression. The third moment of tension plays out when Linda hesitates to reach for a jar on a high shelf in front of a grandchild who watches. The scene compresses into the smell of cooking, the slow creak of the cabinet, and the small, quickened heartbeat as she debates calling for help. She breathes, counts to 3, and uses a stable stool plus a practiced wall push-up pattern for stability. The action resolves as a small triumph that tastes of relief and of a quiet regained agency. Synthesis and epilogue look ahead with 3 temporal moments, showing realistic progress. After 1 month of consistent practice, you see measurable changes. Brief daily routines totaling 10 to 20 minutes, 3 to 5 times per week, reduce stiffness and increase the ease of standing and climbing small steps.
The immediate sensory shifts are subtle. The knees feel less stiff, the breath is a little steadier, and the clothes seem to hang differently as posture improves. Clinically, this aligns with short-term gains in muscle activation and confidence reported by rehabilitation teams. Your calendar marks small wins, and you begin to choose stairs over elevators when safe. At 3 months, the change becomes visible and social. Friends comment on a more confident gait. You can carry a small bag of groceries without pausing, and the fear of a stumble reduces significantly. Strength measures often show increases in quadriceps and calf endurance, and balance tests performed by physiotherapists typically show reduced sway. The scent of fresh air on an unhurried walk feels different because you notice the rhythm of footfall, less effort, and a growing willingness to join community activities. Keep progressing with graded increases in challenge, and if you notice pain, seek a physiotherapist or geriatrician. Studies from respected journals suggest that this 3-month window is when habits congeal and functional independence is reinforced. At 6 months, the longer trajectory is clear and sustainable. Tasks that once felt risky become routine. You might return to activities like gardening, climbing a few flights of stairs, or playing with grandchildren without the same anxious pause. The long-term benefits include improved circulation, reduced risk of falls, and a stronger sense of
Autonomy. Clinicians often report that patients who maintain these routines feel less dependent and more in control of their daily lives. The soundscape of your day changes too. Quieter fears replaced by the soundtrack of movement, friends, and laughter. Keep the routine varied and include professional check-ins to adjust progressions and to manage any medical issues. The goal is not perfection, but reliable independence. Final practical wrap-up and call to action. Recap the 5 exercises: single leg stance, step-ups, wall push-ups, seated leg raises, and heel raises, with their core benefits: strength, stability, improved reflexes, and better circulation. A realistic routine is 10 to 20 minutes daily or short sessions 3 to 5 times a week, gradually increasing repetitions and challenge. Always prioritize breathing and safety, and consult a physiotherapist if you have joint replacements, uncontrolled pain, or recent unexplained dizziness. If you found these steps useful, subscribe to this channel to receive evidence-informed routines and community stories that help you stay independent and mobile. Share in the comments which exercise you will start today, and type 1 if you feel confident, or 0 if you want to improve your balance. Your feedback shapes future videos and helps others see they are not alone. Independence is rebuilt one small movement at a time, and every practice session brings you a step closer to moving with confidence and living with renewed freedom.